Although the teams supporting process automation can be diverse, they're often organized along three broad groups: administrators, designers, and operators. Their responsibilities fit in one of three categories with some overlap: infrastructure administration, process design and development, and finally monitoring and supervision. It should be noted that this is reflected in AWI in its three perspectives. For example, administrators will set up an Airflow integration with the relevant agents, and either they or the design team own the connection, endpoint URL, and authentication. The actual DAG jobs remain the purview of developers. Automic was designed to grow organically with market evolutions. Over the years, IT operations evolved from system processes like backups and data consolidation to databases and ERPs like SQL Server and SAP, to then web services, REST, SOAP, and by extension web-based services like ServiceNow, to more recent evolutions like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and Kubernetes. Automic's true potential lies in its ability to integrate with most market solutions with methods that are consistent throughout. Learn how to deploy one cloud integration, you'll know all the others. We'll consider the various integration types and the tools that support them, like dedicated agents. Once an agent has been set up, you won't have to look at it until something changes in the infrastructure. You simply reference the agent and connection object as often as needed, and you'll be able to design an unlimited number of job definitions and workflows. The life cycle of Automic process configuration is rooted in roles. Process automation specialties are generally segregated into three broad groups: administrators, who handle installations, the engine's internal processes, maintenance, system and network communication, securing the environments, enforcing TLS, and oftentimes agents and connections to various platforms. Designers have broad responsibilities to include job and other process definitions, maintaining the relationships that exist between them, analyzing real-world processes so they can be reproduced in workflows, troubleshooting and remediation via log and report analysis, and finally scheduling using periods, schedule objects, and more. Operators are assigned an equally important set of responsibilities tied to supervision, monitoring, managing alerts, and escalation. These considerations are important because they shape the design process. We see this in the partitioning of infrastructure versus process design. Division of labor is reflected in AWI's dedicated workspaces. Integration management might be handled by administrators, who own the credentials to third-party products like SAP or Oracle. Once the infrastructure has been created and defined in dedicated objects, designers can simply reuse them in the process assembly perspective. This includes agents and connection objects, which store information like endpoint URL, user, and passwords. When this information changes, the updates are made once centrally. Automic Automation offers extensive third-party support. New platforms are routinely added to the Automic portfolio using agents, action packs, and pre-configured configuration settings. We natively support system and batch processing for simple jobs like backups. Dedicated agents handle on-premises tech like databases and ERPs. We have two agents for SOAP and REST-based web services, to which we add action packs for applications like ServiceNow. More recently, Automic has seen extensive developments in the area of cloud applications, and all major players, Azure, Google, and AWS, are supported with dedicated agents. Finally, Automic can easily automate containerized processes, jobs, applications, and systems, including in and out of source code repositories like GitHub. This is a typical agent list. We see system agents, Windows and Unix, on-premises platforms like SQL Server and SAP, the REST and SOAP agents, the ServiceNow Action Pack, the Airflow, Blob, BigQuery, and EC2 agents, and finally Kubernetes. The earliest forms of process support handle basic batch processes like file transfers and FTP, backups and data consolidation using system agents. Automic offers many native system agents, including less common platforms like OpenVMS and AS400, which are still prevalent in many organizations. The agent is installed on the platform, system jobs are coded with a scripting language like Shell, Perl, or the proprietary scripting language, and executed against the system agent with the proper authentication. Next, on-premises integrations have dedicated agents, say SQL Server, Oracle, and ERPs like Oracle eBusiness and SAP. Agent and job configuration ranges from the very simple, like the SQL Server query, to the far more elaborates like Oracle eBusiness, which requires numerous inputs. Web services are offered using REST and SOAP agents. These are generic services with basic requirements, endpoint URL, and authentication. Job definitions submit web service requests along with the necessary parameters. Automic then parses the response for data that carries valuable information to further drive orchestration. When combined with action packs, these agents can extend the integration potential. Packs are downloaded from Marketplace. They provide additional layers of functionality for design and orchestration, pre-configured action templates, variables, and prompt sets to support applications like ServiceNow. A ServiceNow incident task includes a set of required fields for the endpoint URL, authentication, the incident record, proxy, timeouts, and so forth. We've developed dedicated cloud integrations for applications in the Azure, Google Cloud, and AWS systems. As opposed to pure REST applications like ServiceNow, these require additional objects to handle the many authentication options found in those systems, like the service principal in Azure, service account key in Google, and secret access key in EC2 instance profiles in AWS. We also have to contend with the subspaces like containers, buckets, realms, and clusters. For these, action packs simply won't do, and so these integrations are multi-components. The agent handles communications with the automation engine, but we also need connection objects to store connection and authentication details. Job definitions vary based on the integration. Automic supports containerized applications with the Kubernetes integration, which is comparable to other cloud applications. It includes the K8s agents, several con objects for both Kubernetes and source code management, and various job types for processes, pod up and down scaling, and so forth. As a design object, the workflow's main appeal stems from the separation of infrastructure and orchestration design. Once the integration objects are created, you simply design process objects like jobs and assign them to the appropriate infrastructure objects. The workflow makes it easy to change these heterogeneous processes in the desired order without any regard for their on-premises and cloud targets.